Hello everyone, I'm Manas from Another Coder, and in this video we're going to talk about primality test, and we are going to have a look at both O of n and O of square root of n methods. So this video, like this topic, is very simple, so this video is going to be a short one, but we are doing this topic because it will help us further in topics like sieve of Eratosthenes. First, let us talk about what are prime numbers. So any number which is only divisible by 1 and the number itself is called prime. Any other number would be called a non-prime or composite number. So the number should only be divisible by 1 and the number itself, then only it can be called prime. So the statement is very simple, and if you try to form like a very naive or basic approach for finding prime numbers, we can form it from the statement itself. What we can do is we can run a for based loop in the range 2 comma n minus 1. So this is what we are going to do. In the naive approach, we run a loop from 2 to n minus 1, both of them are included, and we run this loop and check if any of the numbers in this loop divides n or not. If any of the numbers divides n, then it is a non-prime or composite number, and if none of the numbers divide or are able to divide the number n in this range, then it is a prime number. So the naive approach is very simple, and it can be formed from the statement itself. It can be formed just by reading the statement, right? But this particular approach takes O of n time. How can we optimize this particular approach? We can the optimization is also very easy. We can just run the loop till root of n. Instead of running it till n minus 1, we can just run it till root of n. Now, why this particular method works? It works because of this statement. For any composite number, at least one of the prime factors of n exists up to root n. Now the statement is also very simple, that if any number is a composite number, then at least one of its prime factors will exist up to root n. Now we will see why this particular statement is true, right? Because this is a mathematical statement and there should be some reason why this is true, and the proof of correctness is also very intuitive and easy. It's not very difficult. We just have to assume any two factors a and b of the number n. So a and b are the factors of the number n. Now if you multiply both a and b, then a into b should also be a factor of n, right? Now if a and b is a factor of n and a into b is also a factor of n, now if we multiply both of them together, we observe that the maximum value of a and b together can be root n. This is the case in which both of them are maximum together, right? Why? Because if we take a equal to root n and b equal to root n, then this product will be equal to n. Now if I increase any one of the values further, then the product will be greater than n, and it will not be a factor of n. Now this is in violation with our initial assumption that a into b should also be a factor of n. But if a is equal to root n and b is any number greater than root n, then it will result into a number which is greater than n itself, and it cannot be a factor of n. So we observe that the maximum value of both a and b together should be equal to root n, and in any other case one of the numbers would be smaller than root n and the other number would be greater than root n, right? So this is our observation, that at least one of the numbers would be smaller than or equal to root n, and this is the only thing that we need to know, and this is the information which will help us to code our logic. So let me just show you the code for this thing as well. So the code is also pretty simple, and it's just like the logic. We just need to run a for based loop. So we are going to create a new file, prime.cpp, right? And we are going to include our headers, include /cvc++.h, and we'll do using namespace main, return 0, and let me just take 5 inputs. So I'll run a loop from 0 to 5. It's just for taking the inputs. There's no other use for it. And let me just call a function check prime. Now this function, let me declare this function check prime. There are no inputs for this function, so We'll take a number n as input, right, and then we'll run a for loop from 2 till square root of n, right, till it is less than equal to square root of n, when we'll do I plus plus. Now if n mod I equal to 0, what this condition states, if the number I divides n completely, then we'll just print not prime, right, and we can directly return from here itself. And if this condition is not satisfied, if any of the number fails to satisfy this condition, then the number should be prime. So that's it about the code, and I think the code is fine. We can now try to run this code. G++ prime.c++. Yeah, so let me check it for 5 inputs. We can take 5 inputs. 2 is a prime number, 4 is not a prime number, 5 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number, and 12 is not a prime number. Let us take more inputs. 13 is not a prime number. Oh, I'm sorry, 13 is a prime number, and let us take some non-prime numbers as well. 15 not prime. Let me take some odd numbers like 27 not prime, right. What other numbers can we take? Let me take some random numbers. 87 not prime, 21 not prime, right. So this logic is fine, and it should work for any test case as long as this is correct, and we have already studied why this square root of n method is correct. So this is all about finding if a number is prime or not, or the primality test as we call it, in square root of n time, right. So this is all for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please drop a like on this video. If you love the content, please do subscribe, and in the upcoming videos we'll also be talking about topics like sieve of Eratosthenes, as I've already told, and we'll also be covering numerous topics on algebra from CP algorithms. Till then, stay safe, keep coding, bye bye.